We're lucky to have them. I'd like to thank our sponsors for this morning, our gold sponsors, Home Care with Grace, and King Movers and Storage. Our silver sponsors, Cataldo Ambulance, Elliott Community Human Services, Lynn Community Health Center, Rick's Auto Collision, and Wayne Alarm Systems. And our bronze sponsor, Group Construction Company. I'd like to bring up our gold sponsors and give them an opportunity to tell you a little bit about themselves for a minute or so. Starting with Grace D'Souza from Home Care with Grace. Don't sit down too quick, Santiago. I don't see Grace here, so I don't know if that gives Santiago 2 minutes. But our other gold sponsor from King Movers and Storage, Santiago Aguilar.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Santiago Aguilar, founder of King Movers and Storage. And it's truly an honor for our team to be here participating of the 2026 State of the Region Breakfast Forum. And I want to thank the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce for bringing us together this morning. And I want to recognize Mayor Nicholson, Alison Nieto, Jim Caldell from EDIC Lynn, and our representative from Swampscott as well, so I believe so. Jim, as you prepare for retirement, I want to take a moment to thank you for all your years of service and leadership. I would say that your work has made a real impact in our community, in our business community as well. And I know many people in this room are grateful for that. So thank you. This room is very special because it represents the people who keep our region moving. Local government, business owners, community partners, who care enough to show up honestly and be part of a conversation. And when people like this work together with the same mindset, with the same goal, we don't just build a stronger business, we build stronger communities. At King Movers and Storage, we have the privilege of participating in this every day. Whether it's a family moving into a new home, a business relocating offices, a senior downsizing, or a company just needing extra storage. And when we are often there during important moments of life and change. And what I've learned is that every move represents more than just boxes and furniture. It represents trust. It represents opportunity, and it represents a new chapter. That is why being part of this region means so much to us. As a local business, we don't just want to serve the community. We want to be part of it. We want to invest in it, and we want to show up as well. So today, we are proud to support this conversation, proud to stand with the Chamber, proud to be part of the region that is building its next chapter together. At King Movers and Storage, we're not just here to move furniture. We are here to move our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. And if anybody's got to move, that's the guy to call. He does move everything forward. The next person I want to introduce is somebody who's been not only a great friend to the Lynn Chamber, a great friend to the community as a whole, but also a great friend to me, and that's Jim Cowdell. Jim recently announced his retirement. It's been celebrations, I think, every week, which is a good thing because he certainly deserves it. And I'm glad that we have him with us here this morning. Jim has been a speaker at every one of our State of the Region addresses since I've been involved with the Chamber. And again, he's a great friend. And when we discussed at the board how to best recognize Jim, I said he's got to have a room full of plaques and trophies and all. And what could we do that would be meaningful to Jim? And prior to Jim getting involved in public service and EDIC, Jim worked at Bridgewell many years ago. And we have a mutual friend who's since passed, who meant the world to both of us. And prior to her passing, she became the executive director. So, along with a small certificate, not necessarily a plaque, we'd like to present this to Jim on behalf of the Lynn Area Chamber of Commerce in recognition of your dedicated service. On behalf of the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce, we extend our deepest gratitude for your many years of leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment as the Executive Director of EDIC Lynn. There's a bunch of other stuff in the middle. But as a small token of our appreciation, the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce has made a $200 donation to Bridgewell in your honor. We hope this gift reflects the spirit of service and community that you have exemplified throughout your remarkable career. So with that, so that you can relax a little, with some coffee, a little gift basket from one of our members, Route North on Linfield Street. With that, I'd like to introduce Jim Cowdell.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, this is my 20th year before the chamber, and certainly my last presentation. So I'll make it quick. Rick, thank you so much. Bridgewell, 2006, I was the chief operating officer. Left to take this job at EDIC. Kelly Martin was one of my best friends, became the executive director. Got stricken ill right after that, so that means a lot to me. So thank you to the chamber for that. I will make this quick and get to the main speaker that I will introduce in a moment. Let's see if this is working. Okay, 144 Market Street. This is at the corner of Market and Monroe. I think the last use was a Chinese restaurant, right? Right at the corner, right on Market Street. It was a blighted building. It was an eyesore. It's been vacant for a long time. This is what is coming. If you drive by there now, it's under construction. So that's what it will look like by the end of this year. It was a complicated project as far as the funding. The mayor was the quarterback on this and put a team together of EDIC, housing, planning, and the developer. This is, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, we've done a lot of affordable housing projects. This is the first home ownership, right? Yeah. And so these are not apartments, these are condos. They are 35 condos that'll be there. Buyers that can be eligible for this can earn as little as $69,000. So we're really excited about this. 31 bedroom, 5 2-bedroom units. We will have retail on the first floor, which is really important. And as I said, it was a blighted building. So we're taking a blighted building and we're going to give 35 folks an opportunity to call downtown Lynn their home. So we're really excited about that, and that's coming this year. Transformative District Initiative, as we call it, the TDI. This is kind of wrapping up now, but it was an important project funded by Mass Development. Restaurant revitalization, this is concentrated on Union Street, $14,000 grant program. It benefited 7 restaurants on Union Street, and what would happen is experts would go in and offer recommendations for how to operate better. And so that was well received. Some storefront improvements with new facades, downtown lighting was installed, wayfinding for connecting the temporary MBTA station to the downtown business district. And CMCC building got a lot of money for much needed work. I think it was $150,000. So that's the TDI program. Some grants that were awarded to EDIC, Community Empowerment and Reinvestment. This was really a cool grant. So we received 104 referrals, and this was from Chief Reddy and Chef Coppinger, for folks that have either been incarcerated or family members of folks that suffered incarceration in their family, and so they were affected. 12-week business incubator, and we partnered with the North Shore Latino Business Associations. We had graduation at the end that the mayor attended, and it really took a negative situation and provided a positive pathway for the graduates for financing and hopefully business ownership ultimately. And when they were done with that program, they received a $1,500 stipend. And as I said, we had 104 folks receive a positive experience through that program. And Justin, thank you for your work on that, Justin, from the EDIC. EPA brownfields. Lynn is the proud owner of this because the taxes were paid. Right next to the post office is that hole in the ground. That was a laundromat, and folks in that field will tell me that in the engineering world, that chemicals from a laundromat are some of the hardest to remove. And so we've been chasing grants. The EPA is a federal grant program that we got. So remediation is underway now, and it's an important building. It's a small lot, but it's right next to the post office, and it will abut the new temporary courthouse that is being built there. So it's an active space in the downtown. So we're working really hard to clean that up and put it back on the tax rolls. I always talk about the ferry. And so, quick question, how many people in this room have taken the ferry?
I love the ferry.
I love it. So we now know who hasn't. So it's really been a success. So you hop on the ferry in Lynn, and in 32 minutes, you're in Boston.
Yeah.
No beeping, no horns, no potholes, no traffic, right? It's beautiful. But really important to know this time of year, you know, the good weather is here. The weekends, you can take it, right? And it's only, like I said, 32 minutes. You land right next to the aquarium, right next to the activities in Boston. Or it opens up the waterfront, right? So you can take from Lynn, 32 minutes you're in Boston, take about a 10-step walk across, get on another boat, go to P-Town, go to the Harbor Islands. It opens it up, and so I really encourage you, if you haven't taken the ferry, you know who you are. Please do. The numbers are a little low this year because the spring was horrible weather-wise, but now that the weather has turned, the numbers are really picking up dramatically. So I always want to talk about the ferry. Lastly, so I'll get out of the way. First of all, when you retire, you know, you go through a bunch of emotions. You're happy, you're excited, you're looking forward to spending time with your family. And then you're a little bit scared because, you know, the folks that I work with, I love dearly, all good people. You wonder, like, are they going to be okay? I'm so proud to say that my successor is Danielle Smith. I have full 1,000% confidence in him. Danielle Smith is here. Please welcome. Danielle will be up here next year. I met Jared Nicholson 11 years ago. I told this at my retirement party, but I'll tell this story again. Walked into my office. I was going to say he was a no one. What I mean by that is he was not a school committee member, he was not an elected official. And he walked in, and here's a guy that graduated Harvard and Princeton, could practice law and make $1 gazillion in the private sector, could live anywhere, right? Chose to buy a home, raise his family here in Lynn. And what he came in to talk to me about was he wanted to offer free legal services to people looking to open up businesses. And if that doesn't tell you who he is, then I don't know what else to tell you. His character is really strong. We struck up a friendship that remains today. He wakes up in the morning and he asks himself, how can I make Lynn a better place for my family and for yours? He's my friend and your mayor, Jared Mills.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Jim. I have had a hard time with the idea that you won't be introducing me going forward. But maybe we're going to get out of retirement every now and then for that purpose. But in all seriousness, you have been an incredible asset to the city, to the business community, and we thank you so much for your incredible service to this community. I'd like to thank the Lynn Chamber of Commerce for hosting us this morning. It's so great to see all of you. I also want to thank my colleagues and neighbors, Allison and Nick. I am very grateful for the opportunity to work with each of you and proud to be part of this region. And I know both of you are relatively newer to your roles, and I'm just so excited to continue our partnership for our community. So thank you so much for being here and joining us this morning. When we think about the state of the region, and particularly with a focus on economic development, I start with what's happening on the waterfront, because that's really such a huge, tremendous opportunity. And I think what's exciting when we talk about the waterfront now, because we've probably been talking about it for decades in moments like this, looking ahead, what's exciting about talking about it now is that the development is actually happening on the waterfront. You see the projects that are now open with the breakwater and the shipwright and the construction that's happening as well. There's so much more that can come from that development, and we are ready to take that to the next level, and we have been pursuing a redevelopment strategy. So working with the Lynn City Council, and in particular Ward 6 Councilor Fred Hogan, who represents that area, as well as State Representative Sean Reed, who I think is here, we reconstituted the Lynn Redevelopment Authority, which has a long and not always so positive history in the way that redevelopment had been done in the past, like a lot of communities around the country, really. But learning from those mistakes and understanding the opportunity that exists, we have brought the Lynn Redevelopment Authority back, reconstituted the board, made those board appointments, gone out and got a $200,000 grant from the state of Massachusetts, who really believes in what we're doing here, and hired a consultant in his land strategies group to help us develop an urban renewal plan for that district, to help those parts of the waterfront that are stuck. You see the development happening around. There's still parcels that are stuck that are even bigger opportunities and are going to help us achieve exactly the kind of growth that we are looking for, that's balanced, inclusive, job creating on the waterfront. So we're really excited to see that moving forward. Another transformative opportunity in thinking about redevelopment is right across the street here with the garage. The garage is 3.5 acres in our downtown, and it's state-owned land. It's become a top priority of the Healy Driscoll administration, and we work a lot with our delegation, and our Representative Ramirez here as well, Senator Craig, Representative Cahill. There is a 1,000-car garage that the state built a couple decades ago that has crumbled before our eyes, and it is incredibly frustrating. And we are really pushing as hard as we can to fix that wrong. It couldn't be more central to the downtown. It couldn't be more connected to transit, especially when the T delivers on the transit vision that they've committed to for regional rail and more frequent train service, with fare equity on the commuter rail, with the bus improvements in access to Wonderland and the region. And so this is a marquee transit-oriented development, not just for the city, but for the entire Commonwealth. It's become that level of priority from the general manager, Phil Eng, and particularly Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll. And we see a real huge mixed use vision for that site, housing, commercial space, and that is very much moving along. Last summer, I think at this time I mentioned that there was an industry day coming up that we did actually here in this room, so the team invited folks from around the region to hear from developers to talk about the opportunity. They did a request for information in the spring, had some interesting respondents, and there's a request for proposals going out this summer to redevelop the garage site and hopefully selecting a developer in the fall. Now, we see the huge potential for transit-oriented development. We also see the huge need in our community, in our downtown, for structured parking. And that has been a key push on our side as we have worked with the T to figure out what we want there to maintain the hundreds of spots that we know that site needs to serve transit riders for the region, and also to serve the downtown as we see transit-oriented development happening around our downtown, the major employers in our community who rely on that structured parking, and with whom we want to partner to continue their work and the work of the entire city. So that has been a huge focus and something that we are really excited about. When we think about the future and future development, I think a critical component to that is workforce development. And we're fortunate to have great partners in the Lynn Public Schools, who we'll hear from shortly, as well as the North Shore Workforce Investment Board and some of our employers who participate on our Lynn Workforce Collaborative. That is the key to converting a lot of the potential that we have in our community, being one of the biggest school districts in the Commonwealth, to real opportunity, both for our families in the city and for employers that need to hire. There have been, I think, really incredible strides, tangible results made right here in the Lynn Public Schools with respect to workforce development at the high school level in particular. So we're standing in one of them, which is probably the most obvious. We're here in the former regional headquarters of the Eastern Bank, who, as a result of a really great partnership, I think, the City of Lynn and Lynn Public Schools were able to take over this building and have opened 2 schools in the building, the Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy and the Harold Durgan Success Academy. The Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy is a brand new high school that was started in 2022, originally on the campus of North Shore Community College. We've been great partners in this. And it's the flagship effort of a broader effort around early college. Almost 1,000 students in the Lynn Public Schools have taken some form of early college courses. They're taking college courses while they're in high school, and it's no cost to them. They're not having to pay tuition as a public school student. The Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy is devoted specifically to early college. We have about 100 students a class enrolled in the Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy. The first graduating class of this new high school crossed the stage a couple weeks ago. And over 30 of those students, as a result of having been in Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy for 4 years, they graduated from Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy. Dr. Cohen gave them a diploma. They also graduated from North Shore Community College with an associate's degree, just in the time that they were in high school. And I was there at both ceremonies, and it was very special to see the excitement from them and their families, knowing that they were pioneers in changing education and also really improved their options going forward, having done that. Another major improvement or advancement, I think, in terms of how we think about workforce development in the Lynn Public Schools is the establishment of different pathways for secondary students, high school students, and of course that's true of the early college efforts. It's also true of the third high school that is in the mix here in terms of options that we've added for Lynn Public School students, the CASA, the City Arts and Science Academy, that is in the old classical building. So the Harold Urban Success Academy has moved here, and in the space there is CASA. And CASA has had really strong student interest, family interest. It's a STEAM-focused school, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, with a focus on design. The idea that whether it's science experiments or visual arts, like design is a critical skill that you can learn and practice and infuse into education. And they have formal pathways now designated by the state in engineering, computer science, and advanced manufacturing. And are coordinating with UMass Lowell to try to feed into those programs, or design the high school courses to seamlessly fit into the UMass Lowell engineering curriculum. So we're very excited about that. And it's not just these new schools. English and Classical are in a review from the state to finalize a new Chapter 74 vocational program. And Chapter 74 vocational program, that's what we have at our tech schools, at Lynn Tech and at the vocational technical schools across the Commonwealth. There has been a huge upsurge in demand around the Commonwealth for those seats, and we've been doing everything we can to increase seats at Tech, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we're also seeing that interest from students and wanting to bring it to them. And so there is a business technology vocational program that's going to be introduced to English and Classical, which will bring along with it the kind of vocational programming and co-op placement that you see at the Lynn Vocational Technical School, which is in such high demand. So we're excited about that. And then Lynn Tech, like I said, we're doing everything we can to add capacity there. We've added 2 shops already, biotechnology, construction and craft laborers, opening environmental science. It's an increase of about, I think, 15% in the number of students that are who want to go to Lynn Tech but now can because of the improvements that we've made there. So we're so excited about the advances we're seeing in Lynn Public Schools around workforce development. And then in our long-term future, I think always one of the best investments that we can make is high-quality pre-K. And these moves that we're talking about here, with the administrative Lynn Public Schools offices going to the top floor here, that's allowed us to open almost a couple dozen classrooms of pre-K at the old administrative building on Bennett Street. And we've added hundreds of seats over the last 3 years in pre-K. And last year, for the first time, I think anyone can remember, there wasn't a waiting list for 4-year-old pre-K seats in Lynn Public School because we've been able to have that capacity. So there's a lot that's positive that's happening. I will say again, I think I mentioned it last year, that we also need to acknowledge some of the incredible challenges facing us, and in particular, the incredible challenge facing our immigrant community here in the city of Lynn, which has been subject to, I think, an overreach in enforcement, unlawful tactics, and really kind of ripping our community apart. Hopefully you can see me better. And it's not acceptable. We're pushing back any way we can. This year in February, I signed an executive order prohibiting civil immigration enforcement from city property. We created a Lynn Relief Fund earlier this year for families that were impacted by immigration enforcement, as well as families impacted by displacement from fires or fleeing domestic violence. And we're also currently working with immigration advocates to try to stand up a legal services enhancement, working with Northeast Legal Aid, Northeast Justice Center, and so hopefully more to come on that. But we are seeing the impact and that it has on our residents, and doing what we can to push back. We are very lucky to be able to get some comments coming from the new officially permanent superintendent, Dr. Molly Cohen, who we're so excited to have. We were lucky to have her step into the interim role earlier this year. She's done a phenomenal job, and it's going to be continuing an incredible career in Lynn Public Schools and partnership So excited to hear from her, and like I said, I feel very lucky to be in a community where we have such great partners in our neighboring towns, and thankful to the Chamber to organizing a forum like this where we can all hear from one another. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is quite a, sorry, let me get you here. It's difficult to follow those two speakers, so I want to thank you, Mayor Nicholson. And we are very content and happy tenants in this new building, as you can see. It can house 2 schools and all of our administrative staff, so we're really grateful for that and for that partnership. I'm here to speak briefly, I promise you, about the partnership with the Chamber. So I'm going to give you a little background, but this is the moment that we strive for from the moment that our students and families enter the Lynn Public Schools, and this is the moment that we release them to you. And so I'm going to take you through how we do that. First, as the mayor mentioned, we're the 4th largest public school in the Commonwealth. We serve approximately 16,000 students. Those students speak more than 60 languages. We have 29 schools, and we are very grateful for the cultural, linguistic backgrounds that our families bring. We center our work in multiculturalism and innovation, as you will see. Everything we do is centered here in our mission, our vision, and our core values. You'll see inclusiveness is one of our major core values, and that is how we partner with all of you and many others to ensure that our students have high quality instruction. The pieces that I highlight here are to let you know that we are really focused on fulfilling the potential of our students and families when they enter the Lynn Public Schools. We believe that they already have a wealth of knowledge, funds of knowledge that they just need some coaching to be able to unveil. So our mission is really to ensure that they are ready to move out and have a positive impact on their community. Our portrait of a graduate begins when they enter. What we hope for is that all students enter pre-K and they're with us for the entire time, but we have a transient population, so students enter at very different places. However, these are the values and the skills that we are preparing them to enter the workforce and become our future investors, entrepreneurs, leaders, educators, business owners. I'm going to actually skip that slide. So where are we heading now? When we started in 2024, we contracted with some facilitators to establish a district strategic plan. So we have a 5-year district strategic plan. We are not wavering from that plan, but we have spent 2 years establishing the foundation, and so now we're really launching into strengthening. What I'd like to focus on with you is our 3rd and 4th priority, which is expanding access and opportunity and building inclusion and belonging. So we've had some early wins. You heard the mayor speak about some fantastic programming that we have. I cannot say enough about Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy. That was the first high school to be on college grounds when we started in the entire state of Massachusetts. And now, thanks to this building, we are able to expand because we have all of 12th grade doing all of their classes at North Shore. So we can house students here and house students at North Shore Community College at the same time. And again, if you think back just for a moment, picture yourselves at 13 or 14 years old. Were you ready to involve yourselves in an associate's degree? Because that's what those students did. They started taking college classes their first year in high school at about 14 years old. First, they applied when they were in 8th grade, They already had the wherewithal of the vision for themselves and their full potential. And then they spent 4 years doing double work, high school requirements and associate degree requirements. I mean, it is really remarkable. And we are so thankful for our partnership with North Shore Community College in that work. So now, what we need is more partnerships. So I'm going to invite Dr. Shannon Gardner up to speak, and I believe, are you bringing others with you? Yep, some workforce development folks are here to speak about the work that they're doing to expand workforce development. And then after Dr. Gardner speaks, we'll have Kristen Tobacco, who is our Assistant Director of Curriculum and Instruction in History. And mind you, the work she does is pre-K to 12. Again, hard work, but our vision is very clear that students bring funds of knowledge with them. They have the potential within them. They have things to offer us that we learn from them, both their cultural background, their linguistic background, and their orientation to the world as young people entering a world that we entered. I'm not going to tell you how many decades ago. I don't think I have to share that, but we entered at a different time. So we need to listen to the young people as they experience the world in a very different way than we did. So I turn it over to Dr. Gardner and her team.
So we are the Innovation Department, and I want to introduce Assistant Director Jim McDonald, Dr. Jim McDonald, the Assistant Director of Innovation, and Juliana Rodriguez and Allison De La Fuente, who are work-based learning coordinators. So we are developing the pathways. We are working on the Frederick Douglass. We worked on City Arts and Sciences Academy. We worked on building up the early college over these last several years. So we've been very busy, and I'm going to start with Dr. McDonald to discuss early college.
Thank you. I just want to recognize the Chamber for hosting this event. I feel like Rick Starbird and Ryan Newhall are sick of me talking about Lynn Public Schools, students and how they're progressing. But part of that is early college. We, like the Mayor Nicholson and Dr. Cohen previously shared, we had students that graduated with their associates before they had their high school diploma. Other districts have approached me and asked me about this because it's innovative. It's an opportunity for their students, and they want to model what Lynn is doing. There's some other communities doing this as well. But currently in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, there's approximately 10,000 students participating in early college. Approximately 1,000 of them are in Lynn. So if you do the math, 1 out of 10 students in Massachusetts are from Lynn participating in early college. Another pathway that we have is we have English and Classical taking courses on Salem State University's campus during senior year. They take their coursework in the high school campuses and then transfer, and they take 12 credits in their senior year. Both commissioners, Department of Higher Ed and Glcc, have a goal of 100,000 students participating in early college by 2036. And I feel like we as a community are, innovative and ahead of that because we have 10% of the whole state's early college participation. Again, as you touched upon, Mayor Nicholson, we have some innovation pathways at LBTI CASA, English and Classical, and we are interested in expanding work-based learning within our students so they're economically ready for postgraduate success. So I want to turn it back to Dr. Shannon Gardner to talk about that, and I want to be brief. Thanks.
I just want to share with you that our early college pathways in English and Classical they have been connected to career pathways since their inception. And we are also working on career pathways in the following areas: engineering, environmental conservation, business, as the mayor said, information and computer science, criminal justice, human services, education, healthcare, and clean energy related fields. So hopefully within that large compendium, people in this room could see themselves in that group. Our goal is very lofty. We would really like all seniors in Lynn to be able to participate in a work-based learning experience. This we can't do without you. So we have up here a QR code, and that will take you to a form to connect with us. We'll also give our information to the Chamber of Commerce. Jilliana and Allison, they are our work-based coordinators. We asked them to come here this morning so that you know that we actually have a team. We actually will be able to work well with you and communicate and collaborate with you. It may be as simple as asking you to help advise us on developing and building some of these pathways. It might be coming to a classroom to speak to students. It could be bigger than that. You know, we could, over some years of working with you, we could develop some work-based learning experiences where students do job shadows, internships, co-ops. So we're here, we thought this was a great opportunity to come to reach out to you and begin that partnership. And I will turn this over to now Kristen Tabacco.
One of our responsibilities as an educational system is to help develop the future workforce leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and citizens who are going to shape Lynn's future and the future of this nation. As the assistant director of curriculum and instruction for history, pre-K to 12, my area also encompasses social sciences such as personal finance and law. So this department is critical in this mission to develop quality, informed citizens. Since I began in this role in 2022, I started developing our own relationship with the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce and city and state leaders and many community members, and that has continued to grow, and it's in many ways across the city and even at different levels beyond high school and middle school. But I want to just focus on these two events, the Credit for Life Fair and our District Civics Day. So our Credit for Life Fair will be doing its third year this coming fall, and November 20th, which we'll be sharing with you soon. The Credit for Life Fair is amazing. It is sponsored by and organized by the Institution for Savings, a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and students actually get to choose a career, and they get a salary, and they actually have to walk around a room and talk to actual human being adult professionals to make decisions on everything from housing to how they're going to bank, how they're going to transport themselves, are they going to have kids, are they going to adopt a pet, on all the costs that come along with that. So this is an amazing event, and it wouldn't be possible without the support of many people in this room, most especially Ryan and Christine at the Chamber of Commerce and the Institution for Savings for making, just doing the outreach and having all those community members. I think we had 65 or more community members volunteer at the Credit for Life Fair that we held just this past winter at Lynn Tech. So we look forward to continuing that partnership. The second event that I wanted to talk about is just emblematic of years-long work that students and teachers do, and that is Lynn Public Schools District Civics Day. This year, on May 15th, we held our 5th annual Civics Day at the Lynn Tech Field House. We had over 100 students representing students in classrooms across grade 8 and 10. So representing about 2,000 or 2,500 students that worked on a collaborative action civics project. In those projects, they are required to identify real issues in their community, oftentimes things that you see on the streets, like the people that I've mentioned back here before, like dilapidated buildings or lack of access to homeless shelters or what have you. So this project really requires the community to come in. We have had the mayor, all the representatives, every school committee member come into classrooms across the city, and each year I would say we have upwards of 50, 60, 75 people walk into classrooms in grade 8 and 10 to support them in learning their civic project and how to actually make policy change at a grand level, which is a very long and arduous process. But we even made some of those things happen, like the C-Click fix is one of the things that came out of Thurgood Marshall and the city took on, which was amazing. So just wanted a couple examples from this year. A couple of the projects that they did this year, one was on the Lynn Vocational Technical System, the new lottery system that has impacted the way that Lynn Tech students are having access to Lynn Tech, and that project was, the kids were very particularly excited to speak at State Civics Day as well. We also had projects on like peer mediation at Reed Middle School and providing more mental health access for students in schools. So these partnerships between our local leaders and the Chamber of Commerce have been amazing, and we cannot do this work without you. And the great thing about these events is that they're accessible to all students. So thank you for your partnership, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in the future.
We just wanted to end with this last image and remind you all that our future sits in our classrooms. We are extremely proud of the work that our students do. They truly are our future entrepreneurs and investors, and hopefully your future employees. So thank you, Chamber, for having us.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen, Dr. Gardner, Kristen, and he's always going to be Jimmy Mack. I had the privilege of working both with Dr. Cohen and Dr. McDonald in my years in tech, and it's no surprise to see both where you went. So, great job. This is just, we're going to leave this picture. One thing I was remiss in not mentioning was congratulating Danya Smith in his new role as EDIC Executive Director. On behalf of the Chamber, we look forward to working with you as the whole business community does. I had the opportunity to sit on an interview, and I was quite impressed, and I have no doubt that that EDIC will continue to grow under your leadership, especially with the staff that you're walking into. So, great job. I think it's really cool. We see that presentation. I don't think in this forum that we've seen the LPS presentation at the state of the region. But it's kind of, everything's in a circle, from our business community, our business leaders, our elected officials, and the school department. And you know, when you look around at what Lynn has to offer, and you see kids coming out, going right into the trade, kids coming out with a degree, kids going out to other colleges, kids coming out going into the military. When I was teaching, I used to drill it in, especially my seniors' heads, all throughout the year. You know, the start of every quarter, we'd all stand up, stand on the line, what's your plan? I don't care what it is, but the day after graduation, you're going to school, you're going to work, you're going to the military, but you gotta have a plan. And always try to drive that into their heads. And as Dania goes out and tries to attract businesses and industry into the city, we've got a perfect opportunity with that educational system, with Lynn Tech, to meet the needs of those companies that we're trying to attract here. And I think that that's a benefit that this city has over anyone around us. So as long as we continue to work together and capitalize on what we have in front of us, great things will come. So with that, I'd like to introduce our next speakers, our community neighbors, who are both new in their roles, starting with the town manager from the town of Nahant, Allison Niet.
I do. I'm trying to sit down. There we go. All lined up. Hi, I'm Allison Nieto. I'm the town administrator for the town of Nahant. I previously served in the finance director position for 5 years in Nahant, and then our former town administrator, Tony Barletta, left us. He did this presentation last year. I did steal some of his slides. I updated them. I became the interim town administrator after Tony left on July 1st, and then I was appointed to the full-time position in December. So yes, very new to the position. Finance is my background. This speaking thing is new for me. So please bear with me. But again, thank you for the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. I've attended this event many years. I greatly enjoy it. I loved hearing about what's going on in Lynn and with the mayor. And I can't wait to hear what's going on in Swampscott as well with Town Administrator Nick Connors. We're all very busy, and I know everybody works hard. My staff does too. I have my finance director here, Ed Locke, that's supporting me. I have a lot of new staff members. They're all very passionate about the work that they do, and it's busy work, so I appreciate all my staff. So just some issues facing Nahant. I know, in Lynn we talked about schools and businesses. There's not a ton of business in Nahant, so we do have some businesses, and actually the topic of the town is that an ice cream shop is coming to downtown, so we're very excited about that. But I wanted to talk about some top issues that are facing the town right now. We're facing an operating budget override. The town greatly relies on its property tax revenue to support its operations. And that only can increase by 2.5% each year under Proposition 2.5. Our last operating override was about 6 years ago. So we found a need as we were putting together our operating budget for FY27 that Proposition 2.5 revenues were not going to cut it for what we needed. So I'll talk about that a little bit. I also want to talk about climate change preparedness. Nahat's basically an island. We have one road that goes in and out. So anything that has to do, with the ocean and the waterfront is a particular concern to us. The town could be cut off from all contact from Lynn. So we have to be self-sustaining. I also am going to talk a little bit about aging infrastructure, and then my last bullet is about housing. So this slide is a little bit small, but as I said, we're facing an operating budget override. We had our town meeting on May 16th. I presented a $1 million operating budget override that was actually received fairly well at town meeting. So now it has to go to a special election. We're having that special election next Wednesday, and that gives every voter, every resident of Nahant an opportunity to come out and vote if they want to support this $1 million override. What the override is comprised of is my fire chief has been asking for years for additional staff. So this override is adding 4 new full-time firefighters to his staff. Right now, on every shift that he has, we only have 2 full-time firefighters. Our fire staff is greatly supported by a call fire program that is not really working as it was originally intended. We used to have a lot of call firefighters that lived in town. It was easy to call them to come to emergencies. We don't really have that anymore. So by adding 4 new full-time firefighters, we're able to add 1 new FTE to each staff. And so then we'll have 3 firefighters responding to emergencies. We also do run our own ambulance service. So right now, if 2 firefighters are out on an ambulance call, we have an unmanned fire station. So by adding these full-time firefighters, it will greatly improve our service. We're also, speaking of schools, we're increasing a part-time staff member to a full-time ELA math specialist in the school department. That was a priority put forward by our superintendent, Rob Lebo. And then also, I think everybody feels the pains of, we provide, as a town, we provide health benefits to our employees. Health benefit premiums have risen drastically over the past few years. So the override will include that, as well as new benefits for the incoming staff. We did a salary survey study a few years ago that really highlighted, many of our non-union, non-contract town employees are paid well below market rate. So I talked about if I was going to propose an override, I was going to include those positions and bring them up to market rate so that we're an attractive employer and can recruit and retain staff. We also have a lot of part-time staff that works in town. Our DPW, during the summer, it's a lot of part-time staff. Our Council on Aging is 100% part-time staff. Our library also has some part-time staff. So I'm proposing to increase their salaries greater than we have in the past. I'm also increasing utility budgets in department accounts. As we all know, our homes' utility costs have drastically risen, and historically we've just bumped those department budgets up by 2.5%. We're increasing professional development in the school department. We have a new principal, Heather Castingway. She just completed her first year, well, next week I think they got out. And she's very big on offering professional development opportunities to her staff, and that's been very well received. Also, we're just proposing to increase department operating budgets. For a few years, we haven't done a transfer to the town stabilization fund. The override would include a transfer for that, which is very important. And then we're just proposing to pay down some debt so we're not incurring future interest costs. So this is a slide I stole from Tony. He had this chart, I did not create that, but he spoke about climate change preparedness last year, and so I just wanted to provide a few updates. The town did adopt a local wetlands bylaw in 2019, and we enhanced our stormwater bylaw in 2022. We talked a lot about in town about preventative infrastructure. Again, we're completely surrounded by water. We had a lot of damage from the 2018 storms that we're still rebuilding from. So one of them, we received a $3.5 million grant from FEMA for our Short Beach Dune restoration project. We've been working on that, and actually construction is supposed to start in September of this year. So it's really rebuilding the dune. I don't know if you're familiar coming into Nahant. Short Beach is the one on your left after you enter town. Just rebuilding that sand dune. It's eroded terribly over the years. The town is also working on permitting a beach nourishment project up at 40 Steps, which is when you come all the way into town at the end of Nahant Road. That revetment was seriously hurt by the 2018 storms. It has yet to be repaired. So we've been working on permitting for that, and we're just waiting on FEMA funding to be obligated. We've also invested in responsive infrastructure and equipment. We purchased 2 portable diesel pumps a few years ago that we deploy whenever there's going to be a severe high tide or an ocean event. We have some low-lying areas in town, so we deploy those pumps to be able to pump out the water as soon as it gets inundated with water. We also completed a stormwater drainage improvement project in our lowlands area, which is when you come into town, it's the softball and baseball fields on your right-hand side. Again, that would be inundated with water, and even in a rain event. We completed a $100,000 stormwater drainage project on Willow Road last year. And we also just approved funding at this past town meeting to borrow for additional stormwater drainage projects in the Whiteway area. So under observation and planning, our police department purchased a drone several years ago that we deploy not just for rescues, or we've done some ocean rescues and we've utilized it, but we also do an annual coastal survey utilizing the drone. So it takes pictures of all the perimeter, and that just documents how impactful the ocean has been on our coast. Emergency management, DPW, and the fire departments are always working together for an upcoming storm. My police chief, Chief Furlong, is the head of our emergency management department. He's always preparing us well in advance. He always has a finger on the weather, and if something is coming up that we have to be prepared for, and whether we have to deploy barriers so that the ocean doesn't come over, they're always on top of that. So I just wanted to show a few pictures of previous storm events and how it has left the town, and these are major roadways. So the top left, that's Nahat Road, and on the right-hand side, that's flooding of the lowlands area that I spoke about. We just did a major drainage project for. So that could be from, you know, just a coastal event. The ocean comes up right over, goes over Nahat Road into the lowlands area. This picture on the right is Willow Road, so it's on the opposite side where Tudor Beach is. Again, just from a coastal storm, it comes up. We have a whole revetment out wall there. It'll come up right over, put debris on the road that our DPW has to pick up. And that is a major road that people drive on, so we have to keep it open. And then down in the other corner, that's the 40 steps revetment that will be, we're starting to work on permitting and to fix that once we secure FEMA funding. So basically the top of that is Nahat Road up at 40 steps. If that continues to erode, it's going to take that main roadway and all the utilities with it. So it is really important that we start fixing this. The town has a lot of aging infrastructure, many old historic buildings that need attention, but one of the main things that we focused on is our sewer infrastructure. So over several town meetings, the town voted to authorize a total of $29 million in borrowing to repair all of our aging sewer infrastructure. So we did emergency sewer repairs in 2018. Then the next phase of the project was the Lynnway force main replacement, right by the Honeydew Donuts on the Lynnway, where it was under construction for a little bit. So, Tony apologized for traffic related to that last year. I do as well. So that's completed. We also just completed a new pump station at Ward Road in October of 2025. That came online. And we also completed some infiltration inflow work. And the town is moving forward with another phase of the inflow and infiltration work, and we're working on another road force main project on Willow Road, which is one of the pictures that I showed you before. So there's a lot of sewer work going on just to update this really old sewer infrastructure that we have. The town has also utilized over the years MWRA's 0% interest loan program to do water repairs. We're also utilizing it to do a residential water meter replacement program. And so that's going to be starting. Every individual or every resident water meter is going to be replaced. We also, every year, the town authorizes some borrowing, or sometimes if we have free cash, we put it into roadway improvements along with Chapter 90 money that we receive. And then the town of Nahat also has a community preservation act. We've adopted the Community Preservation Act. We're going into our 21st year of that. So through that, we utilize those funds to put towards some of our historic buildings. Our library, we've done a library renovation project. We've done some work to Town Hall. And then we've also done some open space and recreational facilities. Town meeting in May of 2022 approved money for a public safety feasibility study. Our police and fire stations are very old. That's our police station over on the right. It was formerly a school that was moved from across the street and placed, this is on Nahat Road. Very inadequate for what we need. On the left is the fire station. Again, very old, not sufficient to fit new fire trucks in. We have a bay out back that's basically a pop-up tent that we placed one of our fire engines under. So we undertook the feasibility study. We hired a contractor. The feasibility study is just about ended. They've made 2 presentations to our select board, basically noting the needs. They did a space needs analysis, and then they also selected sites around town where we could even put either a combined public safety building. There's really only one location in town. We don't have a lot of open space. And so that would be proposed to be near the school. So it'd either be that or reconstructing a separate new police and fire station. So those are the things that we're, throwing around now, starting to talk about and consider. Everybody's well aware the cost of new buildings is extremely high. So this is something that the town is going to have to start to talk about. It's going to require a debt override. It's going to be a major conversation over the next year. Housing, I know the mayor spoke about affordable housing projects in Lynn, and that's awesome. At town meeting this past year, I tried to pass an affordable housing trust and implement that in Nahant. We had a housing production plan done several years ago that determined 45% of renters and more than 36% of homeowners in Nahant are cost burdened. So in May 2025, we approved an ADU bylaw, and then we just had a special town meeting this past November where we passed the Section 3A MBTA Communities Act, which was a big deal for the town of Nahant. That's to select an area to overlay a multifamily zoning district. Again, in this past May, I introduced an affordable housing trust, and it was voted down by voters. The comments that I received, residents were nervous that a trust would have too much power, that residents wouldn't have a lot of say of where affordable housing would go. So I was disappointed. And it seems like when our neighboring communities are able to do this, and in Nahant, it was something that got voted down. So my intention is to work on it again. I've worked with the Massachusetts Housing Partnership. That's been very helpful. They offer technical assistance. I'm probably gonna get them on board. And we're gonna try to approach this again, and maybe we can approach it a different way and have residents get on board with implementing affordable housing in Nahant. We have many seniors that are looking to downsize, and we have young families that are not able to live in Nahant. So that's the major things happening in Nahant, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I hope that you enjoy the summer and come to Nahant and go to the beach. Can I get ice cream?
Thank you, Allison. I think it's great to hear how other communities address their concerns. A lot of it's overlapping to what we do here, and I'm sure the mayor appreciates having community partners around us. We all travel, do business in, many people live in these communities like Swampscott and Nahant. I certainly go to the golf course quite often. I think the only time I go to the beach is on New Year's Day when we do the bowling punch on at Shore Beach. But it is great to hear from Nahant. And now I would like to bring up the new town manager from the town of Swampscott, Nicholas Connors.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Nick Connors. I've been the town administrator in Swampscott since October of last year, so a little more experience in the role officially, but I think you've been in between your interim position in the role a little bit longer. So when I was thinking about today and what I wanted to talk about, I looked at some of the presentations that have been done in the past by Tony and by Allison's presentation. I talked to Gino and others in town. And what I was really thinking about is, as a business community here in the region, I wanted to make sure that you understood the ways that we all try to work together on some of the challenges and opportunities that we see. As I said, I started in October, both in the interview process and then as I got into my role, I very quickly was, calling and texting the mayor, reaching out to Allison, asking about the types of things that are going on in their communities and how they're handling these issues. So in my mind, the best way to sort of organize these thoughts very briefly were challenges and opportunities. None of these challenges are unique to Swampscott alone. All the three communities represented today are facing them in different ways, and we're finding opportunities to work together to address them where we can. Before I even came into the role, we already had partnerships with both Lynn and Nahant in services to the communities and looking at major infrastructure challenges that the region really needs to be addressing. So The one I wanted to highlight first was the operating budget and the constraints. And when we look at what we were facing this year and what we anticipate facing in the future, rising healthcare costs, as Allison said, are something that we have really no control over, but we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to be attractive as employers and to support our staff. And we need to figure out how we can cover that cost or manage those costs. Services, again, something that everyone needs, the trash as an example. Our contract was up when I came in. It was one of the many challenges that I faced. And the increases are massive as people are moving over from contracts that are expiring to ones that go to automated service and things of that nature. And then obviously energy costs are another one that we have little control over, but that we really need to make sure that we're addressing. We have schools, we have the DPW yard, the police department, the fire department. These are all things that we need to be managing for, but there's only so much that we can do. In the case of Swampscott, I was very fortunate to come into a position where there's been a real history of very prudent usage of the levy capacity in town. We also rely, way beyond many communities and much more than Lynn on just the residential property tax in town. So a lot of difficult decisions were made over time by elected leaders, appointed leaders, and volunteers in town to make sure that we were doing everything we can to be prudent in that usage. So although we exceed the 2.5% that Allison mentioned both last year and this year in our budget, we have the levy capacity to be able to do that by only going to town meeting, making the case, working with the finance committee to make the case on why it's important that we make these incremental investments to try to avoid having to face an override as Allison is facing next week. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. When I say there's challenges ahead here, and I'm sure it's similar for the mayor and for Allison, in this budget season we put together a 5-year projection for the first time in a couple of years in town that shows a very narrow path to not get to an override, but it really requires everything to break our way, everything that's a A/B variable to go the right way for us, and to make sure that at the state level as well, the investment in our communities stays the same or slowly increases. So we definitely continue to see challenges there, but it's also an opportunity. That's why I'm on the phone with the mayor and on the phone with Allison, and even talking to Tony, who's up in Manchester by the Sea now, about what opportunities are there to provide a service regionally. With the city of Lynn, we've been doing the veteran services for quite a while. When we look at something like Kings Beach, we're trying to find a path that works for all sides, that results not only in our individual investment in IDDE, but really what is that supplemental or complementary solution that will complete that work over a longer time. And that's a challenge. But it is also a real opportunity to sit down with the mayor and also our elected officials at the state level, who are both encouraging and supporting those efforts. So again, I see that as both a challenge and an opportunity. When I look at the community needs that we have in Swampscott, this isn't all of it, but it's certainly a start. It's the water and sewer infrastructure is something that we're also facing. As I mentioned, we're looking at things like IDDE to make sure that we're doing the right thing by our beaches and natural resources. But even as we look at our infrastructure, and we think about our force main that was installed at a similar time, we see that that is coming to the end of its useful life as well, and it's something that we need to be planning for, and it's significant. As you know, we have been very fortunate as well to invest in our school infrastructure, but at this point we have a high school that is 20-ish years old, but in fantastic shape. We have an elementary school that was the result of the consolidation of the neighborhood schools, which is beautiful and really open. And we have in the middle here, and in the middle for our students, an aging middle school that will definitely require investment, but it, again, is one of these challenges and opportunities that we're facing as a community. We've started the process, reaching out to MSBA, the letter of interest, but that's a 7-year runway if everything goes the right way, and longer if it doesn't. And that includes a number of spots along the way where the community really has an off-ramp to decide, do we want to make this investment or not? And so we're looking at that over a number of years to make sure that we're doing right by our students. And when we talk about housing stock, it's something that Allison touched on as well, the need for affordable housing. When you look at Swampscott as a community, we're small, we're dense, and there are not many opportunities left for the type of redevelopment that result in high-density housing. One is getting underway with their building permit pulled at the Swampscott Mall, and that's something I'll talk about briefly in the revitalization as well. There's another that's been before the planning board at the site of the former Glover House restaurant. But when you go beyond that, we don't have a lot of large parcels that are easily redeveloped in that way. So, as we look into the future, we'll also be looking for opportunities there. around smart redevelopment and growth. I did want to highlight, since it is a business community breakfast here, a few of the opportunities that we see that are really exciting in town. One is the redevelopment of the Hadley School. That's the picture that we have here. As folks may know, we've chosen a partner. We're in the process of moving towards development of a boutique hotel that will be at the former Hadley School right on Scott Park, with some ocean views and the ability to get right down to Humphrey Street. Also on Humphrey Street, we have the Hawthorne Restaurant site, which is something that the community, again, made a very difficult decision to invest the funds so that we could control the future use and future redevelopment of this space. We invested millions of dollars to buy that property. As of right now, we have a short-term activation. When I say short-term, it's from now until the end of June of 2028 that we anticipate having open very soon. Johnny Ray, who also operates the Beacon in Warwick and Marblehead, has been chosen as our RFP partner, and they're actually doing work right now to open up as entertainment venue, restaurant, that type of thing. And then I also wanted to highlight the Swanscott Mall revitalization, which, if you've been over there, you've already seen a lot of the work. Sam Walker's and other places have already opened. The revitalization of the storefronts is nearly complete. There's a couple of restaurant pad locations, as well as public amenities that are in the process of being redeveloped right now. And then when you're there, if you look back to the back left, if you're looking at Stop and Shop, there's also a high-density housing project there that will result in approximately 180 units that we're really looking forward to, that's just getting underway. So these are things that are happening in our town, but also, challenges and opportunities that we see across the region. I think it's incredibly important that you as a business community understand and see that the mayor, is the senior statesman of the three of us at least, is working very closely with both Allison and I, and Allison and I work, and Thatcher, Tony, all the TAs and TMs in the region. We all look for these opportunities to deliver the services that our communities need as efficiently and effectively as possible, and in ways that we can do it together, if that drives savings, but also improved service. So with that, I just want to thank everyone for their time this morning, and thank you very much again to the Greater Lynn Chamber for bringing us all together.
Thank you, Nick. I can personally vouch for Sam Walker's. And I ask that all our speakers stay here so we can come up for a photo before we're done. And I'd also like to thank Catering by Brett Henry, a great Nahant business, who catered breakfast this morning on the event. And if you haven't tried them for takeout, please do. It's definitely worth the trip across the causeway. Thank you to all our speakers this morning. Jim, you're always welcome to come back. It's always open to you. We have some events coming up. One is a ribbon cutting from one of our newer members, Global Protection. How many people in the room would think like I did when you hear Global Protection, that maybe it's a security company? I sure did. It's actually a condom manufacturing company, largest in the country. And so, fun fact, Ryan Newhall pointed this out to me this morning, that if you Google condom capital of the US, it's right here in Lynn. So on June 25th, we'll be having a ribbon cutting at Global Protection down on the Lynnway and the old Relic building, the I Love Lynn building. On June 25th at 4:30, come down and tour it. I know at our annual meeting back in March, they even left personalized condoms throughout Cali, so it was fun. Hey, don't knock it. June 30th, Lunch and Learn event-based monitoring at Wayne Alarms. Learn how proactive video monitoring can help protect your business and deter crime. That's June 30th at noontime. That's our noontime networking event in Lunch and Learn. July 14th, Breakfast Club at the Lynn Housing Authority on Church Street. That's 8:30 to 9:30. Come in, network a little bit, and still have the day ahead of you to get some work done. And another fun night, August 12th, bingo night at Kowloon. If you haven't gone to the outside area of Kowloon, you're really missing out. That's at 7 to 9 on August 12th. Be a buffet out there. Put it on your calendar because, you know, we all know it's not going to be there much longer. It's a great outdoor event. They have entertainment and everything else, so it's a great time. I want to thank our speakers. Woody.
There's an event tomorrow. The event tomorrow, Lunch and Learn with, is it Marnie Moore and another person?
Life Care.
Yeah.
Oh, with Life Care Center.
It's at the Chamber office, 614 Washington Street, second floor, at noon time.
And that's on long-term care.
Long-term care.
Thank you.
Who's the most active board member?
He knows everything. And race has been rescheduled for this weekend, right?
The Lynn Police Department, on Greenwood Road in Linwood.
And that's part of the race series that the Chamber's involved with. So with that, I'd like to thank our speakers once again, everybody from LPS, City of Lynn, Town of Swampscott, Town of Nahant. Thank you for joining us this morning. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
We're at 195 Market Street, the Lynn Public Schools building, for the State of the Region, Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. So excited to have had the opportunity to share what's happening here in the City of Lynn, learn more about what's happening in Nahant and Swampscott. We're all working together to further the region, and couldn't be prouder to call Lynn home.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be here. We just finished up the Lynn Chamber State of the Region breakfast, and they asked the Lynn Public Schools to speak for the first time. And I was very grateful to be able to share about our mission and our vision and our core values. I also had Dr. Shannon Gardner and Dr. James McDonald speak with me, and the Assistant Director of Curriculum and Instruction for History, Kristen Tobacco, who oversees all of our history programming from pre-K to 12. So I just want to thank you for asking me to speak with you here, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, I'm Daniel Smith. I'm currently a senior advisor in the mayor's office, and I was recently appointed as the executive director of EDIC Lynn. Really great to be here at the 2026 State of the Region to hear from Mayor Nicholson and our partners over in Nahant and Swampscott. There's a lot of great work going on in the community and work that's supporting our business community as well. And it's really good to hear about the broader opportunities and challenges. I'm happy to be here in my current capacity and my future role. And I look forward to continue working with the Chamber. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Liz Champa, known to the kids as Miss Champa, and I'm so proud to have served as FDCA's first ESL specialist full-time this past year. We are so proud to have graduated so many of our seniors, the first inaugural class of the school, and they attained up to and including an associate's degree from North Shore Community College, as well as an LPS diploma. We look forward to advancing this wonderful program for years to come. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Shannon Gardner with the Innovation Department of Lynn Public Schools. We were here today to present to the Chamber about the early college pathways and work-based learning. We have career-connected academic pathways in the high school, and we're excited to work with the Chamber.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim McDonald with Lynn Public Schools, Assistant Director of Grants and Innovation, and I shared with the Chamber the opportunities for early college, our seniors that completed 12 or more credits, and our Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy having their first graduate class, as well as some other pathways that the students are participating that are innovative and opportunities to get work-based learning opportunities within our growing catalog.
Hi everyone, I'm Juliana Rodriguez. I'm one of the work-based learning coordinators. We're new to the department and we primarily working in Lynn English and Lynn Classical, but hoping to touch across the other LPS schools as well.
Hi, I'm Allison de la Puente. I work in Lynn English, also as the work-based learning coordinator with Juliana, and we're very excited to begin this new role and start fresh in the new school year.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, my name is Santiago Aguilar, owner of Game Overs and Storage, and we are one of the gold sponsors here today. I just wanted to thank not also the Green, the Lynn Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to thank everybody that which was in this room, which honestly, that's what it makes a community being stronger, just to have the same mindset, because when they grow, we all grow. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick Starbird. I'm the chairman of the Lynn Area Chamber of Commerce. And this morning, we hosted our annual State of the Region address, where we bring in leaders from the communities around us, from Lynn, Swampscott, and Nahant. We get updates from our economic director, Director of Economic Development, Mayor Nicholson from the City of Lynn, town managers from Swampscott and Nahant. And everybody gives an update of what's going on in their community, how they're addressing some of their issues with, whether it be health care, with their employees, whether it be affordable housing, how they update and repair their own infrastructure. And it's a networking event as well. Networking event for our business members, networking event for our community leaders, and it's always an event I look forward to.